everyone, and welcome to the May City Council meeting for the City of Waynesville. As you will notice that we are social distanced here in the chamber, and we have two of our City Council people that are on the floor, and we are trying our best to do what's right. We are limiting people in our audience, and in fact tonight we have quite an audience. So good to see all of you out. And again, I would just say that we are trying to do our best. And I just wanted to say a word. I am having some health problems, and I'm having trouble being short of breath. So if I sound like I'm going to pass out or something, it's because I'm having trouble breathing. And so don't worry about it, I'm okay, all right? If I pass out, Mitch, you take care of me. So, call to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mayor Hardman?
Here.
Councilman Davis?
Here.
Councilman France?
Here.
Councilman Conley?
Here.
Councilman Liberty?
Here.
Councilman Brown?
Here.
Councilman Curtis?
Here.
Councilman Farnham?
Here.
Councilman Wilson?
Here.
Very good, and thank you all for being here tonight. As I begin to end my term as mayor, I've asked Mike to say the prayer tonight because he's my good friend. And would you join me with Mike saying the prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
If you would join me in prayer. Lord God, we come to you now in this time. Lord, we just don't totally understand how people deal with this as they lose loved ones, and Lord, as lives are being lost. Lord, as businesses are going under and as people struggle on every day. God, we ask wisdom, we ask guidance, and God, we just ask that you intercede in this time. God, we also lift up our mayor, give her strength and let her be healed. And God, we lift up those people that are on the front lines that are battling this unseen enemy. And God, continue to strengthen them. God, we give you praise and glory in all situations. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Our agenda tonight is somewhat busy, and we have some good stuff here at the beginning. But the first thing on our agenda is the adoption of the consent agenda, and I would entertain a motion. Motion by Mike, second by Cecil on the floor. And all those in favor, would you raise your hands, please? And that is unanimous, Ms. Clerk. Well, as some of you may know, about, 6 months now, Governor Parson appointed me to the Centennial Commission for Route 66. And I intend for that to be my keep busy project when I leave office. Well, a few months ago, my dear friend Jackie Welburn was appointed also, and so we're going to get to work together. I'm so excited. I have met a couple of the other members, Cora Scott, I believe, from Springfield. What a wonderful lady she is. I believe she's a PR person for the city of Springfield. And so we will have a great time, and I'm looking forward to that. And in the meantime, my dear friend from the Tourism Bureau, Laura Huffman, contacted me and said, do you realize this is the 30th anniversary of the historic byway? And so because, again, Jackie and I are on the commission, Route 66 is so important to Waynesville, we decided that we were going to honor it. And so what I'd like for us to do in these strange times is to come up. I just wanted to introduce everybody. I want you to come up and kind of stand away from each other. But Jackie, would you come up? Laura, would you come up? And then as a special guest tonight, we have former State Representative Jim Mitchell from Bridgeland. Jim is our dear friend, obviously, and so proud of him and the work that he did in years past. But Jim was the state representative who really pushed for this and worked very, very hard for it. And so it ended up being signed in Waynesville. What an exciting thing for us, and I'll let you talk about that real quick here in just a moment. So we have a proclamation from the city, and then we'll let a couple of people say a few words. All right. I have in fact, we have also made a copy for the city. if we want to take a picture real quick, and then we'll talk. Let's do this. There we go. How's that? Can you get us? All right, very good. So we have a proclamation from the city, and I love the headline that Michelle, who's on the phone by the way, Michelle chose for this proclamation. It says, "In honor of the birthplace of the byway." 30 years ago, the historic byway designation was signed in front of our old courthouse. And again, I want to give this to Jim. We'll make sure that the tourism board gets a copy also. And that'll be a good keepsake for him. Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Can we do that, Tracy? Make sure that Laura gets a copy. So, Jim, if you would, kind of give us a little backstory.
Right. Well, thank you, Mayor. And you said keep it short. I'll try to keep it short. I know you got a long agenda, and I can get long-winded, but I'll try to stay within a timeline. But it is a historic time for us to celebrate 30 years. Doesn't seem like it's been that long. But a lot of people got their kicks on Route 66, and the whole area benefited from Route 66, from up in St. Robert, Devil's Elbow, through Waynesville, and on through, and the whole county. And so, back 30 years ago, I was starting to talk to people in the Capitol about trying to pass legislation that would make it an historic route and preserve some areas in Route 66. And so, we introduced the legislation, it passed the House. I asked Senator Russell to handle it on the Senate side for us. He handled it. And then it was passed by the Senate and sent to the governor, Governor John Ashcroft. And then I asked him, I said, "Governor, would you please come down to Pulaski County and do the bill signing in front of our courthouse?" And so he granted that request. He flew into Fort Leonard Wood. I picked him up in my 1961 Corvette convertible, took the top down, which he wanted off, and he got behind the driver's side and took off driving. We had the Cave State cruisers all up there. They got in behind us, and we came on out of Fort Leonard Wood, through St. Robert, down the Waynesville Hill, and pulled right in front of the courthouse. The Lakeway Band was playing. A lot of dignitaries were there. I have a lot of pictures from that event. In fact, it was on the ABC Good Morning Show. It did a video of the governor driving the Corvette. But anyway, we had that ceremony there, and I was glad to be a part of that. There's one catch to it that I've always kind of wanted to do and haven't got it done yet, but with two distinguished members on this commission, and we may work up something. But on that spot, I would like to see, and I'll get permission from the county commissioners, I hope, to cut a piece of chunk out of the sidewalk, and in that spot, have a piece put in there that says, "On this spot,
Oh my goodness.
House Bill such and such was passed. Governor John Ashcroft signed it."
Very good.
And I'd gladly pay for it. And that's one thing I wanted to do
Right there.
before I just got so old I couldn't get out. But, so I'm looking forward to that, and it's something maybe we all can do.
We're going to get that done.
Yeah, I think that would be great to do that. But thank you, Mayor, for recognizing this. And I know tourism's been a big part, and we appreciate that. I know you'll do a good job on that commission also. The work that you've done, your pictures of Route 66 has been outstanding. So thank you.
And don't sit down yet.
Okay.
Laura, would you like to say a word on behalf of the Tourism Bureau?
Yes, we'd actually like to thank Mr. Mitchell for his role in bringing that historic legislation to Waynesville to be signed. You noted back then that it was a historic day in Waynesville because that was the only legislation that had been signed in Waynesville at that time. And the transition from, Route 66 had been decommissioned 5 years before that. You led the rebirth. Missouri was the first state to sign that designation, so Missouri is at the forefront of bringing Route 66 back, and it was signed in Waynesville. The significance of the birthplace of the byway is very important. Thank you, sir.
Good. That's wonderful. Can I also, while we're talking about Route 66, you want another picture?
From this side, yeah.
Okay. All right. Everybody, come up a little closer. There we go. There we go.
Thank you.
So if I might say one more thing about Route 66. This is not a hidden secret. A lot of people know about it. But Jim, a big old monument's going to arrive on the courthouse lawn before too long. Between the clock and the old courthouse, there's going to be this really nice Route 66 emblem on a monument, and it's going to fit right into what the story that you gave us.
Good.
And so that's going to happen before long. The city's involved in that. We're partnering with that. Tim Barrier's been leading that. And all about Route 66. You know, since I've been mayor, I've met so many wonderful people because of Route 66. People all over the world. Amazing. Jackie, do you have anything that you'd like to say or add?
It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you so much for what you did for Route 66 and for Waynesville and Pulaski County. I'm an avid fan of Route 66, Waynesville and Pulaski County, and I appreciate the people who came before me and what they did.
Very good. Very good. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Before, but we don't have a problem. Okay. Laura, we'll get that to the tourism bureau.
Okay, thank you, I'm gonna stay.
Well, wasn't that fun? The next item on our agenda is our business spotlight, and Bill, it's Odyssey Scuba this month, and I do not see Bob in our crowd. Whoop, is that Bob? Come on in. No, that's not Bob. It's the mask. The mask throw me. Just a little word about Odyssey Scuba. Odyssey Scuba is our dive shop, which is located downtown. And this establishment is owned and operated by Bob Hathaway. I always like to say, and his partner, Cheryl Keaton. They're kind of partners in crime, no pun intended. Their staff has over 100 years worth of combined experience in diving and in training for diving. Odyssey Scuba is known for their hospitality and their commitment to the community. I would tell you that during this crisis, Bob has been helping the city with Ruby New Spring and the diving that goes on there. So he's been very helpful to the city. So our compliments and appreciation to Odyssey Scuba as we recognize them as our business spotlight this month. All right. We are going to start our board and commission reports. And the first one is our park board. Mr. Beamer, would you come up, please?
Yes, ma'am. It's going to be a little different tonight. I'm going to make it very short, just to honor you, Mayor.
I love it.
Yeah. We only had a 30-minute meeting anyway, and we called to order at 6:04. We had 100% participation. I was very happy with that. The first thing I want to start off with, I'll be reporting things that's not even on here, is we do have an event that came up 2 days ago, and I'm going to let Lorenzo come up and explain it to you. It will have to be
Very
happening on
good.
Monday.
Lorenzo Valdiva is our good friend from Red, White, and Blue. And in fact, we had a good conversation today.
We did.
And I believe I've honored you before for Citizen of the Month. So go ahead.
Thanks, sir. Good evening, Mayor, members of council, and those in attendance. I'd like to share for a quick moment, if I may, about a Marine that I met while serving in the Marine Corps, and an event that Team Red, White, and Blue will be holding here in Waynesville on Memorial Day. Cole Jared Beat is a fourth-generation serviceman from Visalia, California. As a young boy, Jared would dress in his father's fatigues and combat boots. When the World Trade Center was attacked and fell to the ground, Jared cried. He knew since he was a young man that becoming a Marine was a lifelong goal that he had wanted to fulfill. He wanted to fight for what would make this country safe, and it was his destiny. As Jared soon got the chance, he signed up and followed in his father's footsteps of joining in the Marines. In November of 2017, I joined the Marine Corps. Upon graduating and earning the title of United States Marine at MCRD San Diego, I was assigned to Marine Combat Training West, where I had the opportunity to meet Corporal Jared Ruby. We both then arrived at Fort Leonard, Missouri, where we become military policemen. Upon leaving, we were stationed in Camp Pendleton, California, with 1st Marine Division, Headquarters Battalion, Military Police Company, where we continued to serve along each other until 2011. Corporal Beek was then assigned to 1st Battalion, 5th Marine Regiment in 2010 and deployed to Afghanistan. He was assigned to train Afghan National Police and soldiers, and man, was he proud of that. He was proud of the fact of becoming a Marine, a military police officer, and he loved his country and was fulfilling his lifelong goal of becoming a United States Marine. During a walk patrol in Afghanistan on June 21st, 2011, an improvised explosive device exploded next to Corporal Verbeek. Corporal Verbeek would succumb to his injuries aboard a medical flight out of Afghanistan. Corporal Verbeek was survived by his wife, son, parents, sister, and many other family members and friends. It's because of service members like Corporal Verbeek that have given the ultimate sacrifice that Team Red, White, and Blue is inviting the community to join us on May 25th from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. to walk, run, or ruck in their honor. We will be located at Pavilion 3 in the Waynesville Park with a table for those that attend to sign in. Fill out a I am running in honor of tag, which we will have available, and head out along the marked route through the park and through Laughlin Park down through the spring. To take your time to honor those that have gone before us. We have names of fallen service members. If you do not have a name in mind when you get there, or you can run in walk or ruck in honor of somebody that you may know. Due to social distance guidelines and to be in compliance with Fort Leonard regulations, we're not going to have a formal gathering. We're just going to be there for a time for people to come in whenever they would like during that time and head out on their own on that walk, run, and ruck. So we'd invite members of council, those attendants, members of the county to come and join us as we remember those that have gone before us.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
You made me cry, by the way. It's good to remember people.
Yes. Very good.
We appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Weather permitting, I do have a question. Weather permitting, will it be postponed and sent someplace else?
If we do have lightning or severe weather, then we will postpone, but a little bit of rain will not let that stop us. So, yes, we will look for another day.
And you need to personally invite Mr. Wilson, because he's been training.
I'm on that team already.
Oh, that's right, okay.
It's going to be Memorial Day, May 25th from 8:30 a.m. till 10 a.m.
It is posted on the internet. So
And I may come down, but I'm not running.
I'm going to the table.
I'll join you at the
Thank you,
table.
Mayor.
I'll run as far as I can.
Good job, Lorenzo.
I'll run to Casey's. Okay. Next thing I got is the sports program. I'm just going to break it right down. And the spring soccer and track season has been moved June 1st and ending August 1st, tentatively. Volleyball has been canceled and the registrations, the money has been returned. There also has been some sponsoring and some donations which have come in, so I think they're in halfway decent shape. Park superintendent, as everybody knows, we had a flood, and this has been since the last meeting, last Thursday. We had a flood, and they did evacuate the RV. As of today, I think we only have three of them down there, and we have a potential again to have a flood this weekend, so we got to keep an eye on that. Which Trey and Mr. Harrell and Mr. Doyle are keeping their eyes on that shit. Basically, and then we are going to continue putting things together for Tiger Park. We'll be waiting for the June mid budget to make sure that we're going to be able to continue and put it in. We have to wait for the budget to come in, but we're going to have everything ready to go just in case. The splash park, the trade will be, when they get time in between the grass cutting and the rain and everything, They're gonna de-winterize the splash park and make sure everything works just in case it gets open. If it doesn't. The parks are totally open. The playgrounds are closed as of now, still. So, and I've been going to the parks, and everybody's keeping distance, and I'm very proud of it, that they have. Other than that, we adjourned at 6:34. Next meeting is Thursday, June 11th. Now, my next part is Mayor Lewis.
Lawrence?
Come on down and stand in front of your chair,
Oh,
please.
my. Are you going to hit me with something, or?
Yeah, you have 3 doors. Price is right. It'll be short. Joe?
Oh, that's why Joe's here.
That's why we're all here.
Okay, very good.
Okay, I understand that you are a Cubs fan. Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
A Cardinal fan.
What?
My bad.
Very good.
He has something for you. It's a $100 gift certificate, which can be used to buy your ticket. It's good for 5 years.
Wow.
And for the Cardinals, and you can use it in concession, you can use it in the store, you can use it to buy a ticket. We want to send you to the first game you can possibly go to.
Isn't that cool? Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Joe. I was looking at- Here, stand here with me. Here.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Should have been
You wanna? Come on up. Come on up. Come on, Amanda. Come on, Lawrence. Just gather around here. Uh-oh. What have you got?
We found out that
Come around, just stand there real quick and get a quick one, and then we'll move apart from
we
each
found
other.
out that when you went to a Cardinal game,
Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay.
we found out when you went to a Cardinal game that you don't like to go alone, so Jeff has another $100 gift certificate.
Oh my gosh, guys! Wow! Now, let's see. Tickets, beer. Thank you guys. That's
We
wonderful.
know you're friends.
5 years.
That's wonderful. Thank you guys so much for
Okay.
thinking about me. What better presents could anybody get if they were a Cardinal fan? And
Correct.
hopefully-
Here comes Amanda. We're not done yet. I told you there's 3 doors.
I said crap. I apologize, Tim. Can you cut that out?
Edit. Okay, we decided to give you something that nobody else in the world has.
Oh my gosh! Okay, y'all just gonna make me cry. Hold on to that for a
I have a
minute.
picture.
Check it out.
She has a picture
Guys,
for
that's
you.
me on this coin. Keith, I'm on a coin. I'm on money. Oh my gosh. Here, stand here. Come up here, Lawrence, a little bit. This is amazing. Okay, you guys do it up well, don't you? Where'd you get that picture?
Off the internet, and we did a little work on it.
I'm trying to think. Where'd that come from? I don't have as much gray hair.
Yeah.
Guys, that is just too cool. Isn't that cool? That's going to be my good luck coin from now on.
That's going to go up there with your collection, but it's,
Oh, yeah. But no, I'm going to keep it in my purse. Every once in a while I carry a purse. That's wonderful.
and-
Thank you, guys.
There's a plaque on there that says.
Thank you.
There's a plaque on the outside.
Yes, I saw that. Little keepsake for my coin. I could put my coin in there. That is so neat. Thank you guys so much for thinking of me. That's wonderful. I wish I could hug everybody.
Okay.
Virtual
by the way, we meant to write up some IOUs, but we never got to that yet.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And you stay there. I want you to do something for me.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, quit running.
She acts like she's the
Quit
boss.
running. Okay. Guys, that was wonderful. Y'all gonna make me cry all night long. So we have 2 reappointments, and I believe Lawrence is the only one here.
Yeah, he couldn't make it tonight.
I'm going to sign these, and if you would, take Smith Cade's his copy,
Okay,
because I probably will not see you again,
okay.
to do that. So I'd entertain a motion to reappoint Lawrence Beamer and Smith Cade.
Motion.
Motion from Clarence, second from Mike. Do you need a roll call? All those in favor, raise your hand. That is unanimous. And can I say how much, here you go, how much I have appreciated all my commission and board people. And Jerry, you'll learn real quick who you can call on. And, you know, we have commissions that have 11 people on them, 9 people. I mean, sometimes it's very hard to find volunteers. So, yeah, so I have been very fortunate, and I appreciate it. And I thank you, Lawrence,
I
very much.
appreciate working for Waynesville since I've been here. I've really enjoyed it, and working with you. We're going to miss you.
Well, I'm going to miss you guys. I'm not going anywhere, though, except to the Cardinal game.
You're going to the Cardinal.
The Cardinal game. Thank you again very much.
You're welcome.
Amanda, thank you. Jeff, Joe, thank you all. Wonderful. And planning and zoning. I see my friend Mr. Ward back there. Planning and zoning.
Are you
And-
going?
yes.
Are you going to reappoint?
We did.
No, Smith Gate.
Yes, we did both at the same time.
Oh.
Yes, we did both at the same time, yes.
We're in
Is
session.
that correct? I believe we did.
Hey, Mayor, we need to go back to see if there's any citizens' comments too.
Okay, and I'll do that. But is it okay to do the two appointments at the same time?
Yes, that's fine.
Very good, very good. And again, you know, because almost every month I forget to say, this is the time for citizens' comments. And if there is anyone in the audience, I believe Keith is coming forward, who would like to address the council, this is the time for you to do it. And come on up, Mr. Pritchard. Thank you for reminding me, Bruce, sorry.
Good evening, Council. I'm Keith Pritchard, 300 Highland Woods Drive, Waynesville. First of all, I'd like to say I was there and witnessed Governor Ashcroft sign that 30 years ago. It didn't seem possible. Jim Mitchell was a young man with a dark beard. Great day, great event. It's still great benefit from that. And I would also like to thank the city and its employees for working in a very harsh environment to get our cemeteries ready for Memorial Day. A lot of families come to visit and honor those that have come before, and it's been a horribly wet year this year with a very challenging situation. I know it hadn't been easy, but I certainly appreciate those efforts, and I know the other families that visit the cemeteries will. My main purpose is just to give my perspective during citizens' comments on the proposed ATV, UTV golf cart prohibition ordinance that's being considered tonight. I would just like to say that, as my perspective, our family and our business interests own about 400 acres of agricultural land, which is inside the city of Waynesville. We use our four-wheelers just like we use backhoe, skid steers, dozers, etc. for work around our property, etc. I do drive it to the gas station to fill it up and fill up gas cans, etc., which would be on City Street, and as I read the proposed ordinance would be not acceptable unless I receive the, applied for and receive the special permit. And from my viewpoint of what I see in my little part of the world, I don't see a need for the ordinance. There may be other instances and areas out there that I'm not aware of that I don't proclaim to know all of what goes on, but I think the police have been able to maintain order in the streets properly, and I just don't see the need for the ordinance, and I would ask the city, I would ask that you consider not approving the ordinance. I think just because we have the power to create the ordinance doesn't mean it's always correct. Just my opinion. I just wanted an opportunity to present it, and I thank you for that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Very good. And again, I apologize for the out of order thing there. And we have planning and zoning. And let's see. Cecil, is that you?
I'll cover that, Mayor. I think
Okay.
he wasn't able
Very
to make
good.
the meeting.
And Bruce?
Okay, we had the meeting on May 12th. Mr. Jim Lord chaired the meeting due to the absence of Twyla Cordry. The main purpose of the meeting was to have a public hearing and to vote on a conditional use permit. And this was to allow a single chair hair salon in the basement, 101 Glen Haven. It's a commercial, a very small commercial business in a residential district. So we had the public hearing. Let's see, Mrs. Marianne Ward, she spoke on behalf of her daughter who wanted to open the hair salon in their basement. I think we had 4 residents speak, Mr. Keith Pritchard, Dan Gearing, Mike Prater. Let's see, maybe I missed one more. They all spoke, all the residents spoke in favor of the issue. The planning and zoning approved it, and of course it's gone on to City Council and the Mayor for your approval. So it seems like it has very minimal impact on that neighborhood, and they approved a conditional use permit for that hair salon in the basement. Are there any questions regarding that?
There were several letters that were given to the commission from neighbors also.
I have one. Is this, now, if they sold their house and moved out, it doesn't grandfather, it's gone.
If you'll read section 1, it's for Jessica Ward to operate a business in her house at
So it's
101
name
Glen
specific
Haven.
and everything like
It
that.
doesn't say anybody else. It doesn't say any other residents. It only says her.
One of the big concerns from the neighbors was signage, and the wards assured us that there would be one little old sign on the side door, which you probably wouldn't even see it unless you live up there coming down the hill. She's only going to have 1 chair, and I would tell you that Jessica really just wants to keep her license. And I'll throw that out for the family. I know Steve is here also. So, anything else? Any other questions, comments?
Pretty straightforward request.
Very good. We have ordinance 2418. Mr. Doyle.
First reading of ordinance number 2418. An ordinance granting approval for a conditional use permit for a single chair hair salon to be located at 101 Glen Haven Drive, Waynesville, Missouri, fixing an effective date. Second reading of ordinance number 2418. An ordinance granting approval for a conditional use permit for a single chair hair salon to be located at 101 Glen Haven Drive, Waynesville, Missouri, fixing an effective date.
Mayor? Mayor?
Yes.
I would move to approve that.
Okay, motion over here to approve that. Second by Ed. We'll let Ed have a second. And Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Yes, Councilman Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Farnum,
Yes.
Councilman Curtis,
Yes.
Councilman Brown,
Yes.
Councilman Liberty,
Definitely.
Councilman Conley,
Yes.
Councilman France,
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Thank you.
That ordinance passes. Very good. Thank you. Our standing committees, Councilman France, Roads and Grounds.
Okay, I called the meeting to order on May 7th at 4:30. All members were present. Mr. Harrell stated that we continue to have problems with the illegal dumping at the leak and limb facilities, stone dump, as we all know. Basically, we've been having this problem since well before I ever came on council, 8 or 10 years ago. It's always been an issue. At this time, the committee is in agreement with restricting the hours, and anyone wanting to use it will have to sign out a key in order to access the facility. Mr. Harrell will bring back a proposed policy for the committee's ultimate approval. Major projects, Councilman Farnum asked if we ever looked into paving Hillside Road. Mr. Harrell stated that it is not a city street, but we'll have Brian Adams do some research and come back with a layout and price for Hillside. Councilman Wilson asked if a decision was ever made at paving the gravel road off Lyle Curtis. Mr. Harrell stated that it was a privately owned road and the owner has not agreed to the paving. Brian Adams stated that GW Lane sidewalk from Veterans Drive to Stonebrook should have been completed. Is that a correct statement?
They're working on it now. It should be
With the
completed
rain?
later this month. It may go into June now, I think. That one section will probably be complete this month, is what I think it means. It's not gonna be completed in May.
Street departments, Ryan Adams stated that he's had 9 work orders, made several trips to the stump dump, 6 utility cuts repaired, swept the streets, put a culvert extension in on Pippin Road, and did some dirt work over Northern Heights and Home Street, filling in where sewer line was replaced. There was a need for a closed session. We entered closed session at 4:43. We came out of there at 5:32. I made a motion to proceed with accepting the $133,000 offer from American Tower. Councilman Farnham seconded the motion, and the motion was passed. Having no further business, I adjourn the meeting at 5:35 p.m. Next meeting, June 4th, 4:30.
Okay, I would like to ask maybe Bruce to clarify the leaf dump. We are going to now have keys.
Mayor, we're going to take a policy back to the committee for
Very good.
next meeting for their review. And what we're looking at is restricting the hours and possibly issuing out a key.
Okay, right now it's
So right now, it's the same way, and we're going to bring back, we're going to propose looking at policy and bring it back to the committee.
Very good. Any other questions for Mike? Anybody? We have ordinance 2419. Mr. Doyle.
Ordinance number 2419, ordinance giving approval to the mayor to execute a contract for the sale of an easement to ATC Sequoia LLC for property located on State Highway F, Waynesville, Missouri, fixing an effective date. Second reading of ordinance number 2419, an ordinance giving approval to the mayor to execute a contract for the sale of an easement to ATC Sequoia LLC for property located on State Highway F, Waynesville, Missouri, fixing an effective date.
We'll entertain a motion and then let Bruce explain this to the public. Motion and second by Sean over here. Motion by Mike. And Mr. Harrell, would you maybe just briefly tell the public what this is about?
Well, there's a small area the city owns that we currently lease out to a telecommunications company for $600 some a month. So they'd like to go ahead and buy a more permanent easement there, which equals to about 16 years of their monthly payments to us, which would equal to $133,000. We discussed this at Rosie Brown several times, and we basically, the offer started a little bit lower, and they've gone up to the $133,000. We also consider an offer for a longer-term lease over payment over 10 years. But the committee decided to go with the one-time offer of $133,000.
Very good. Questions or comments? And again, this has been in several of our committees, so we're very familiar with it. Okay, no questions, and we've had a second on the motion, so Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman France?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
No.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Farman?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
And that ordinance passes. And now you can move that huge contract over to the left. It's some kind of huge paperwork. Utilities, Mike, would you keep talking, please?
All righty. I call the meeting to order on May 5th at 3:30. Utility disconnects and late fees. Mr. Harrell stated the city has tentatively suspended utility disconnects due to non-payment until May 15th, which is past now, 2020. Those customers who have had entered into payment agreements prior to the 15th in regard to their past due bill, they will not accrue fees or penalties as long as they honor their agreement. As of, if they had not, then they would start accruing penalties. Proposal to consider eliminating a 3% convenience fee for credit card online payments and adjusting utility availability charge. The committee was not in favor of the initial proposal, but agreed to have it brought back to the committee at our next meeting. Review of proposed solid waste permitting regulations. If I remember right, Bruce, it was dated 1974, that particular...
Yes, it was. That's
74, so it was time that we kind of take a look. We're no longer using horses and wagons to pick up rubbish throughout the city. So we're going to take a look at it and bring it a little closer up to date. It's almost as bad as the 25-year gas thing with Richland.
Right.
Okay, so
Sort of document had Mr. Parker's signature.
Really?
Department updates. Gas department, they're continuing to walk their gas line with the sniffer for finding leaks, and they have been diligently assisting our building department with ongoing work within the city. Wastewater, Mr. Elgin stated his department installed 3 new meters, repaired a leak on GW Lane, which was very big, 3 sewer work orders, and jetted the sewer line on Home Street. The grass has been cut at the city wells, lift stations, and have painted the well off Highway T. Also have been going through SCADA installation on several of our facilities. Electric department, Mr. McDonald stated the electric department have installed power to the new bathroom, installed underground 3-phase to our sewer plant, and the city has a mutual aid crew helping out the city of Lebanon with a severe storm that knocked down well over 100 poles.
How's that going, by the way? Are they?
I think they've got all the customers back on, and of course, all the, to my knowledge, all the crews are back on.
Very good.
Other business, MPUA water and wastewater rate comparison. It came in with all cities that were of approximately our size throughout the state, and basically what it came down to is Waynesville water and wastewater rates are below the average as compared to other cities within our peer group. Motion was made by Councilman Conley to go into closed session at 4:33, seconded by Councilman Wilson at 4:55. That's when we came out, and having no further business, I adjourn the meeting at 4:55. Next meeting, June 2nd at 3:30 p.m. here at City Hall.
Very good. Questions for Mike? I just have one. I want to say to the public about the 3% convenience fee. It never dawned on me that that was as expensive as it is. And, you know, as a small city, we can't eat that money. I mean, it's tens of thousands, right, Bruce, every month? Yeah. Tens of thousands of dollars every month for these convenience fees. That's why I use Discover, though, because they give me money back. But the bad part is somebody has to pay that. And we have just not been able to do that. And so we will continue to discuss some of these items. And during this situation, during this crisis, we have been foregoing the fees. And so I say kudos to us for doing that during this time. And I think I'm told, Tracy, a whole lot of people are using this because of that. They are using this option. And so, again, I just wanted to clarify that. We cannot just absorb tens of thousands of dollars every month.
When the committee discussed it, it was just about $8,900 when we talked about it in my meeting, wasn't it? For that past month?
Wow.
Yes, it's about $8,900
And
for that
if
month,
you-
and
if you
usage
get rid of that
has been
fund,
climbing a little bit. so.
It could, you know, encourage more people to pay that way, and pretty soon, there's no telling how far we go.
Well,
how
we
big
have
that
to make
bill
it up
could be.
some other way. We
Right.
have to charge the customer more on their utility bill just for the city to cover that.
All the customers, the
Yes.
ones who's not only not.
The ones who's
using
not
the card,
using it.
and that-
So there's a lot of moving parts to that. Again, I just wanted to say that to the public, that's why that was decided. Finance and Human, any other questions? Finance and Human Resources, Councilman Liberty.
Meeting was called to order at 5 o'clock. Committee reviewed the bill. Motion was made by Councilman Davis to approve bill and seconded by Councilman Curtis. Vote was called, unanimous to pay the bill. Monthly budget review, Mr. Harrell reported to the committee that as of this date, we have around $3.6 million in the city bank accounts with 2.6 in restricted accounts and $1,080,972.94.
That's hard to say.
It is tongue twister. May 1st, we're at 38% of our budget projections and expenses at 35%. Our year-to-date net income is $184,342, with grants, draws, and adjustments. We reviewed Westgate Community Improvement District. Mr. Harrell stated, see ideas and additional 1% sales tax in Westgate area of the city we can utilize to help with qualified community improvement expenses for prospective new businesses. He stated CID received $71,000 in 2019 and were able to reimburse the city $65,000. Updated city response on COVID-19. Mr. Harrell stated the staff have been working on a list of expenses that city has incurred during that. Updated the committee on current utility and sales tax situations. He stated employees are back to work full-time with one employee working from home. Animal shelter is now open to the public, but they're limiting volunteers due to the small space. Update on the city audit. Mrs. Bach stated that virtual audit is complete, that KPM will be on site May 19th and 20th to finish up the audit. Review of FEMA reimbursements for the 2019 storm. Mr. Harrell stated city has received 2 payments from FEMA regarding the 2019 storm. Mrs. Jones stated there is still one more payment expected, then we should be able to close out the project. Mr. Harrell stated there was a need for closed session. Vote was called, went into closed session at 5:09 and returned to regular session at 5:52. With no further business coming before the committee, we adjourned 5:52. Next meeting will be held June 11th at 5 p.m.
Very good. Questions for Clarence? Anyone? Okay, and emergency services and police committee. Keep talking, Clarence.
Meeting was called to order at 3:30. No citizens comment. ATV ordinance was updated per the last request from the committee to change term day glow to bright and reflective color. Mr. Harrell would like to take this ordinance to City Council for approval. Proposed emergency pursuit policy. Mr. Harrell stated that our insurance company advised Chief Cordova to update the emergency pursuit policy. Councilman Connolly stated, page 7, section 6.1.2, he would like to take out verbiage that is in parentheses since it was repetition of the sentence before. Mr. Harrell would like the committee to approve the policy subject to review of the city attorney. The committee unanimously approved the policy. Police update. Chief Cordova to discuss Homeland Security grant. Councilman Connolly made a motion. Actually, we went in a closed session at 3:51 and back in open session at 3:54. Mr. Harrell asked for a motion to change promotion board policy. This change would update the members of the board, including city administrator, assistant city administrator, chief of police, mayor, and up to 2 police committee members. And the motion passed. After further discussion, Councilman Brown made a motion to go back into closed session. Councilman Connolly seconded the motion, entered in closed session, returned to open session at 4:10, having no further business, meeting adjourned at 4:10. Next meeting will be June 4th at 3:30 p.m.
Very good, and I'm sure there are some questions and comments that we're going to make here before we address the ATV ordinance. And shall we do that first, or shall we take a motion?
Up to you, Mayor.
Okay,
However you want to do it.
let's just go ahead and discuss it, and then we'll go from there. I would just like to remind everybody that the original reason, in fact, I believe it was me that brought this to the first committee, I guess the police committee, was that I've got teenagers in my neighborhood. Some of them aren't even teenagers. They are like 12 years old and 10 years old. And they are driving these ATVs. And I actually had to step out and do my teacher voice one night and stop two girls. They were going so fast, coming down my hill, and when I yelled at them, they slammed their brakes on, and that little golf cart, you know, did its little twist. I just think that, first of all, we're protecting those kids. Those kids don't have any insurance on that thing. What if they hurt somebody? You know, what if they hurt your property? I mean, there's a lot of things here to think about. And again, I don't have a vote. I'm going to listen to what you guys have to say about this. I appreciate Mr. Pritchard's comments, but I believe, looking at the ordinance, that it's taken care of. Am I correct, Bruce? An A?
Yeah, I would say.
For his farm?
I think it covers agricultural, but,
Under
but
A.
it doesn't, yes, but it doesn't allow them to travel on a city street.
Oh, okay, so if he wanted to go get gas, he'd have
It
to have
does
that
say within
permit.
the vicinity.
His
land isn't near proximity.
I would claim that it would prohibit on a city street, and there's several reasons for that. You can't drive them on a MoDOT street, and even the manufacturers say they're not safe for a hard surface street. So that was some of the discussion that we've had on it, just to be quite frank, that it wasn't determined to be safe on a MoDOT street, and we thought the same for a city street. And one of the problems was, even the manufacturer says don't use them on a hard surface because they're not safe. Now that was our research that we found out, and besides the mayor, there were two other citizens that called and complained. I think it was mostly in your neighborhood, Mayor, over in there, that they had some complaints about this. So that was why we took up this issue, due to the reasons of safety, due to those citizens that had complained.
So again, I understand what Mr. Pritchard's saying. I don't like to pass ordinances either, unless we absolutely have to. I would say, and you correct me if I'm wrong now, Bruce, I know, for example, Kurt Cox uses his on his property. Keith Pritchard uses one on his property. Would they only have to come to the police department one time and get a permit? Would it last as long as they have that golf cart?
I don't think there was. It wouldn't apply if they were on their own property.
No, I'm saying, Keith wants to go get gas, so he's got to get a permit. Does he only have to do it one time ever?
I believe that the state law prohibits it on state road, but city streets.
Yeah.
If you let, you can't get most houses to a gas station without traveling down the historic route, which is a state route.
Mayor, I don't see that requirement in here, but if we wanted to make that, you know, like it was a 5-year permit, or
Right,
if you wanted to put a limit, I would not put a limit of forever.
right.
I would put a certain limit of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that.
What about age, Bruce? The operator. How about per vehicle? The person, you know, he's not going to have 10 of them in his place. He gets a permit for a vehicle for X number of years.
I think that's something that could be considered, yes. Now I would I believe it would prohibit if you're underage doing this, but I'd have to check that.
I think the state law says you have to be 16 to operate one anyway.
And have a license.
Right.
Which is going to be my next question. Is there any state law that already does this?
It is for the state roads, the way I understand it. And you have
So
to be
we're only
16.
worried about city streets right now.
Right.
You know, one thing, we can't legislate responsibility. Where's the parents' responsibility? Where are the 16, 17-year-old kids' responsibility? Understand what they're
And if
doing.
it's a neighborhood problem, we can't put a police officer over in that neighborhood to dwell it for a while?
Well, we have. I turned them in.
Can a police officer issue a ticket for two 16-year-old girls driving a golf cart down the road too fast?
And I think these girls got a real talking to.
They are not the only ones that do it, I assure
Right.
you. Oh, I'm sure.
Right.
My daughter had a motorcycle too. She got a ticket.
Just to clarify, this ordinance does require them to be at least 18 years old, 18 years of age.
And the reason for the ordinance is so that they know there's a law in the book in the city stating they shouldn't do that.
There's laws on the books for a lot of other things that people don't pay attention to, though.
Yeah.
But
But
this
at least
would-
we're covered as a city.
You know, I like to have our police have clear-cut guidance.
Right.
Yeah,
They
and
know
that's the reason for
exactly
the
what
ordinance.
rule they're enforcing, and it's
Right.
very clear-cut.
Yes.
It's not vague, it's not, go look at this and look at this, it's clear-cut. You know, we can, as long as it's clear-cut, we can, you know, tweak it to make it, you know, better or more addressed for citizens, but I would like them to have a clear-cut ordinance that says what they can and can't do on a city street.
I guess I'm a little confused on the permit. If Mr. Pritchard would get a permit, he could use his vehicle on our city road, on a city road?
To go get gas.
Yes.
That's what he said, he was concerned with. I don't think he's intending to drive down our streets, but he drives it to the gas station.
But to get to the gas station, he's got to go on.
Right.
Well, they'd have to have the proper equipment as listed on this, you know, and I have to go to a police station, get a permit, tell him what he's using it for. You know, it's not to be used on, certainly on the state highways, it's prohibited anyway.
How would he get to Casey's?
Ken,
Back roads?
no, if there's not a back road, he'd have to go through the parking lot of the building he owns, and that little dairy suite or whatever. that old
Dairy King.
Right.
Dairy King, you have to go through the back of it. That'd be
Okay.
the closest way for him to get to Casey's.
Well, if we're gonna be tweaking this
Yeah,
up,
jump
we ought
the
to
curb.
take it back to council,
His
the
parking
committee
lot
to tweak it.
Right,
Yes.
we'll do that.
Yes, we didn't hear any concerns. It went to committee several months, and we didn't hear any concerns, but if you want to tweak it, we can always take it back to the committee and tweak it a little bit, as long as we kind of got a consensus of what purpose we're tweaking it for.
Right, for the permit.
Yeah.
So, again, I appreciate Mr. Pritchard, I appreciate anybody who doesn't like heavy-handed government. We don't want ordinances that are not, you know, necessary. I understand that. I'm your Democrat friend, and I'm just like that, okay? I am not for that. I'm not for passing things that aren't necessary. And if, you know, what do you think, Mr. Harrell, that we maybe
Mayor,
go
I
back
don't
and...
think it was for a necessary need is public safety.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that's what you started
It was
with.
public safety.
Exactly.
So I think that's a necessary public need.
I do
Now,
too.
we can tweak it to address some concerns,
Yes.
but I would not belittle this ordinance, because this ordinance was brought to us with valid concerns
Right.
from our citizens about safety.
Can I say that I'm
Yeah.
not belittling this
Well,
ordinance?
I didn't mean that. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just saying that I
I
think it has a valid.
I'm just saying that
concern.
some people look at things like this and they go, that's unnecessary. Well, it is necessary. We have people that are doing things they shouldn't, right?
Yes.
And so it is public safety. We all understand that, I think.
Quite honestly, Mr. Pritchard stated that he wasn't aware of everything that's been going on that could cause
Right.
something like this.
And that's why I told that
So
story.
now, you know, I didn't know that we was having a problem.
Right.
So now I do know that we have an issue. And sometimes, you know, a few people hurt a whole bunch of folks.
Oh, yeah,
But we've
as
got
we're
to,
finding out now.
we've got to address it.
So what would be your
My
advice?
suggestion, Mayor, we got some concerns. Let's take it back to the committee.
Okay.
And tweak it a little bit. I would encourage the committee to keep public safety as a primary issue, but also look at ways we can alleviate the concerns of people who do use ATVs in the city, and hopefully they would be using them safely.
Okay, what do you think, guys?
I agree.
How are we going to tweak it, really? I mean, they still can't
Well,
travel
we can
state
tweak
roads.
that permit a little bit, or clarify more on the permit. I don't know. We'd have to look and see. I think Michelle did a lot of work and saw what other cities have done. Ours is basically very mild as compared to what you'll see in some other cities. Some cities flat out prohibit it. So we have allowed them, but we allowed special conditions that they would have to meet to operate them safely. So
And
I
I would
just reconsider it and see if there's a way that we can address some of the concerns.
Right. And not make it overburdensome. You know, if he could get a permit every 5 years, he doesn't have to do that every year, that might be, and I'm not just talking about Mr. Pritchard, I'm talking about the ordinance itself.
That's something we should discuss in committee.
I think C kind of covers it right now. If we just tweak C just a
See?
little bit.
See?
C, you know, we can make C2 vehicles utilized by industrial / agricultural facilities for up to 5 years. I mean, we can tweak it and not have to send it back to committee, per se.
because I really don't see a lot wrong with it. I mean, to take it all the way back to committee and then bring it forward, I don't see a whole lot really that needs
Where
to
do
be
you think,
done.
Bruce, that we would put that?
But still, if, like we've all said, you still got to get on a state road, which we can't legislate that, and make it legal, with the exception of when we're having our parades, and we'll have the UTVs coming out of the parking lot with for certain companies and entities and stuff, but that's been done for eons, and there's no one speeding during those things.
No.
Or no little kids. Normally it's adults driving. That's allowed by the. And so, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't see a lot of tweaking.
So maybe the tweaking would be under 3, where it says special permits. Maybe, Bruce, we could just simply put a special 5-year permits. I like 5-year, I like that. What do y'all
You
think?
know, when we did guns, it was for 3 years. Your concealed carry was 3-year time frame on it.
Bill?
The county has an ATV ordinance, maybe we need to look and see how long their ordinance is.
They got a permit thing for it
Do
too.
they?
Yeah.
Because
So I think it needs to go back to committee.
Okay,
Mayor,
let's, guys, just to stop the discussion, we're going to do that. We're going to take this back to police committee and let it come forward maybe next month.
I would make a motion that we pass
Okay.
it.
Oh, okay.
It's already been
No,
decided.
no, I have a
it's his
motion.
prerogative to make
I
motion.
have a motion on the floor to pass this ordinance as it is. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Second from Mike. Any other discussion? Let's see, Mr. Doyle, did I let you read it?
No.
Would you read it and then we'll pick up?
First
Ordinance 2412.
First reading ordinance number 2412, an ordinance of the city of Waynesville, Missouri, amending Title III Traffic Code of the city municipal code to prohibit all-terrain vehicles from operating on city streets except with a special permit fixing an effective date. Second reading of ordinance number 2412, an ordinance of the city of Waynesville, Missouri, amending Title III Traffic Code of the city municipal code to prohibit all-terrain vehicles from operating on city streets except with a special permit fixing an effective date.
Very good. I have a motion by Ed
Mayor?
Conley.
Yes, I'd like to reaffirm the motion after the reading. The motion was made just before the reading,
Right.
so we would like to just reaffirm the
I'll make
motion.
the motion.
Ed Conley, and a second by Mike France. And any other discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Wilson?
No.
Councilman Farnum?
No.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
No.
Councilman Liberty?
No.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman France?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
No.
How many? Yes.
That ordinance fails 5-3. That ordinance fails. And again, as the mayor, I would like to ask you to take this ordinance back to committee and see if we could do something with it, because I do agree with Mr. Harrell. This is an important public safety issue, and, you know, we need to always be aware of that. So, very good. Did we do that correct? Ralph, did we do that correct? Is Ralph on the phone?
I think he said yes.
Thinking on it, though.
Yes, I think he said yes.
Either that or he's eating dinner. So, moving on, guys, we have the airport board and Councilman Wilson and Bruce Harrell. Let's see, you didn't have a meeting. Yeah, you didn't have a meeting, so probably just Bruce. Yeah, that was short, thank you. Sean? Yes, I believe they meet next week. We kind of have put things on hold because of the situation. Mr. Harrell, we do have an ordinance, however, and it's ordinance 2420. Shall I let you talk a minute or go ahead and do a motion?
Mayor, this is just an amendment to one of our previous grants. Sometimes we have to correct the amount of money. Usually we get more money, and usually we get a little more time on the grant. So this is, I believe, this is our third supplemental agreement to this grant. I think it gives us additional $38,125 in grant funding.
Well, that's a good one.
Okay.
Hey, that's a good one, isn't it, guys? This is ordinance 2420, Mr. Doyle.
First reading of ordinance number 2420, an ordinance authorizing the city of Waynesville to execute supplemental agreement number 3 to the airport aid agreement between the city of Waynesville, the city of St. Robert, and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, fixing an effective date. Second reading of ordinance number 2420, an ordinance authorizing the city of Waynesville to execute supplemental agreement number 3 to the airport aid agreement between the city of Waynesville, the city of St. Robert, and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, fixing an effective date.
Very good. I'd entertain a motion by someone who wants more money.
I make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, wait. Clarence said he motioned, second on Jerry. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman France?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Farr?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Wilson's over there. Okay, that ordinance passes. You know, I'm glad to have a little bit of laughter. We haven't had much laughter tonight, so that was good. Bill, would you talk to us about economic development?
Okay, economic development met on May 5th at 5. The meeting is called to order. Mr. Harrell gave us an update on the COVID-19, which he probably did to every committee. Our major thing was when City Clerk Michelle Brown presented a demo on the major upgrades that she's proposing to the city website. Very impressed and did a great job at it. Economic development issues, Mr. Harrell stated the business spotlight for the month of May is Odyssey School, which you mentioned earlier, Mayor. And for the month of June is Piney River Taproot.
Very good.
I haven't had a chance to go there yet, but I'm looking forward.
Can I tell you, they have wonderful pizza.
That's what I
And
hear.
the pretzels are very unique.
That's what I hear. The other business and special events, which is now past May 16th, the Kids in the Park Day, was that rescheduled, Mr. Harrell?
Hopefully we'll reschedule maybe later in June, you know.
I know
You don't know?
nationally it was done away with.
Okay.
It's a national project we do every year, so
Okay, it's kind of,
just so it doesn't infringe on what the other volunteers and organizations have. So we
Okay.
plan for next year.
okay, so that's basically been canceled.
If I remember correctly, they did some kind of virtual
Yeah.
Right.
park day.
Our meeting was rather short. There was a need for a closed session. We entered in closed session at 5:19, and we came back out of closed session at 5:40 and adjourned the committee. And a really major thing, like I said, was the city website upgrade that Michelle has been working on, and it looks great.
Very good. I of course missed that meeting and I missed seeing it, so I'm very anxious. I believe she put out some stuff today about Code Red, how you can now do Code Red by texting. Is that you, Miriam? That was a really good thing. And so I think I noticed a lot of people reading it. Would like to tell the public that we do not have a business spotlight in July for Waynesville, and so if there's anybody who'd like to make a nomination, all you have to do is go online, and there is a form there to fill out. And very good. Other business, I don't believe we have any. No closed session. Mr. Harrell.
Mayor, I provide a written report. Currently, our audit took place this week, and it looks like we're going to get a good audit report. I commend Amber for all the work she's done getting her audit ready. Most of it was conducted virtually, but they were down here for a couple of days, and I think we're gonna see a good report from them when we get it. So they're still working on that. As far as our budget is, we haven't seen a major impact yet of the COVID-19, but we anticipate that will probably come in the next 2 or 3 months. So, but right now our budget is in very good shape. The crews are included some of the work. I'm very proud of the work they've been doing on GW Lane. Those sidewalks are looking good, and the work our crews did in Lebanon, helping them restore power. The SCADA system, something we've been working on for the water system, that was in the process of being installed. And many of our wells and water towers are not hooked up on that, so we get early warning if we have a problem. And in the next week or two, they'll be installing the rest of those systems. So that's going good. John Doyle and Mitch have been working, and Jack working with the the grant on our wastewater system, so that's moving forward. We put in for the Volkswagen grant, Miriam put in for the Volkswagen grant, again, for some more fuel-efficient trucks. We're working in our park. We're running the lines to our new bathroom. The new bathroom is basically under construction on our park grant. So we're still getting a lot of work done. We are planning on Employee Appreciation Day at May 29th, noon timeframe at our pavilion in the farmers market. Also giving you an update on some of the personnel that have been moving around. Nikki Brown, our youth sports director, has been reassigned. Her family's been reassigned to Fort Riley, and we're looking at Aaron taking over that position. We've got open positions we're filling for apprentice linemen and some other key positions in the city. So that's
Very
my
good.
report. Do you have any
Questions for Bruce? Anybody? Good job as always. I tell you, I'm just amazed sometimes at the work that you guys do. And I know this COVID thing, Jerry and I both, we got kind of a update on things, and I remember thinking to myself, what a great amount of work that these guys do that nobody knows they do. It's just wonderful. So appreciate you, appreciate the staff. Amber stepped in as finance person and her first audit, and you lived through it. A little different though this year. And Miriam, you just do great work. I appreciate you a lot. And you and Tracy. Tracy, appreciate you stepping in for Michelle. And we miss Michelle's face. She's on the phone. So we'll do our council comments, and let's start over here with Cecil.
I just want to remind everybody that people are starting to go back to work. So you might see cars on the road that you normally wouldn't. And the kids got out of school at the same time. So obviously there'll be a whole lot of things on the road that you're not used to in the past couple of months. I'm hoping that a haircut place opens up here pretty soon so I can get a haircut.
It's already open.
We have one open in Waynesville,
I
yes.
gave you one.
I'll bet you can.
Think twice.
I go there too.
I'll
Very
help pay
good.
for it.
Mike?
I was really hoping when I saw that coin, it was a Trump coin. But no such luck.
No such luck.
You know, summer's on us. This weekend we're supposed to have rain in and out. Don't let it dampen your spirits. This is always a great time of the year, and we're kicking off a great summer. So be safe out there. And try and maintain some sense of distance, because though it looks like we're not really affected, we can get affected.
Very good. Ed?
No comments.
No comments. That's odd for you. No stories.
No story.
Oh my. Clarence?
First, I'd like to thank everybody that showed up this evening, the
Nice
citizens, and of course the awardees. Thank you to Mr. Harrell, Mr. Doyle, and your staff and the city workers for an excellent job. I think they really stepped up without ever having to do it before, and they came a long ways to make everything safe for everybody.
Very good. Jerry?
All lives lost, they lost family and friends. Whether from COVID or causes. A very unique person passed away this Saturday night. Those who knew him will already remember what a one-of-a-kind he was. There will be stories talked about by all his friends for many years. Billy Fenton will be missed by all who knew him.
Absolutely.
Appreciate Jerry was very close to Billy. And in fact, many of us on this council knew Billy. In fact, I was going to mention Billy when I spoke. It just seems like we have so many people leaving us right now. Yesterday, Mrs. Julian died. Tom Julian's wife, Wanda. What a wonderful, wonderful lady. Billy Fenton, what a wonderful, wonderful man. And of course, I had all their children in school and knew them very well. So very heartfelt.
He touched a lot of lives.
He did. He was a character.
Yeah, it was.
You know,
He
Billy
was one of a
was a
kind.
character. And, you know, he was sick. Everybody knew he was sick. And about, was it 2 weeks ago that the motorcycles showed up? The police probably helped them come through, but the motorcycles showed up at Billy's house and did a little parade for Billy, and he was sitting on the front porch. So we're going to miss them, and our thoughts to the Fenton family. Mike?
I just think about freedoms that we have in the United States. I had the honor to go to Africa, and we take our freedom for granted. As we celebrate Memorial Day weekend, remember all those people that gave the ultimate sacrifice so that we in the United States can have the freedom that sometimes we take for granted.
Very good. Good reminder for us all, Mike. Bill?
I would just like everybody to take a moment and remember those who have gone. Family, friends, even strangers. Just take a few minutes out of your time to think about it. We're free because a lot of that is books.
It was sad that I heard right before I left home that they were not putting flags out this year at Arlington, and I thought that was so sad.
The GAV is doing it on Saturday.
At Arlington?
No, here.
Here, yeah. But the Congress canceled it, and that was kind of sad. That's always such a wonderful occasion and something to see. Sean?
Just continue to cherish this time with your family and your friends. Be safe and be blessed.
Very good, Sean. We're proud of you too, what you're doing, and kind of transforming yourself. You've been interesting to watch. If any of you are, and I've got two things I'm going to say, so don't get ready to leave yet. If any of you are my Facebook buddies, you already know this, but one of my highlights 2 weeks ago was giving a city coin and a letter to one of the upcoming graduates from West Point. John Lowe. John is the son of our municipal judge, and Kim. So David and Kim's son, John, is one of those graduates. In 2016, we had 9 Waynesville High School graduates at West Point at the same time. And on my Facebook page is a picture of them. I think I'm going to put it in the newsletter this month. But there were 9. And so over the years, some of them graduated. This year, 5 of them are graduating at the same time. Oh my goodness. They are John Lowe, Jason Brodeur, Ashley Wolf, Hunter Ball, Robert Osborne, and then I got this little tidbit. Amy Clark is a teacher at the high school. She's also a retired colonel in the Guard. And she called me and she said, would you believe her daughter, Jessalyn, who's a captain, is going to pilot the Black Hawk helicopter that flies over the graduation ceremony, which, by the way, President Trump is going to speak at. That's a Waynesville High School graduate flying that Black Hawk helicopter, and she sent me her picture, and that is also on my Facebook page if you'd like to see that. Again, I think I will try to feature that in the newsletter. But she is Captain Jessalyn Clark, and in parenthesis, pilot in command. Isn't that just too cool? All right, I was also, again, going to say something about Billy, and I'm glad that Jerry did. And then I have a surprise for everybody. And Miriam, would you come up, please, and pass these out to the council and to the staff. You know, one of the things I'm most proud of as mayor are my councils. I have not been one of those mayors who's had to come every month and fight you guys. Isn't that wonderful? You know, all around us there are councils who continually fight with each other. Fight over this, fight over that. We have never had that. And I knew that June, the June council, would be a goodbye time. Well, tonight I want it to be a time for hope. And I want to say just a few things to my council. I want you to think about the future. And I wrote you a little letter, and I'm going to read it real fast. I've been lucky to have the best councils ever. We have done so much together. And I will just tell you, I leave this city in good hands. Bruce leaves this city in good hands. And I want to be sure to say that. I have full confidence in Jerry Brown. I have full confidence in John Doyle. And several people, Bruce, have asked me as I've been interviewed and whatever, how in the world is Waynesville going to survive this complete change of leadership? And my response is always, it's going to be seamless. Because we planned it. You know, John's been with us since October. Jerry Brown has been on council. He knows what the issues are. He knows how things work. And so I wrote you this letter, and I'm going to buzz through it real quick for the public. And it says this: Dear Council, I hope that our new administration does not forget the many promises that we've made to our citizens. I hope we build a Ruby-Doo Bridge, Jackie, in the same vein as our historical bridge, and that we don't hesitate to invest some money in a structure that will be here long after we're gone. I hope we continue to wisely plan and use the self-imposed Parks Capital Improvement Tax, Lawrence, that the citizens thoughtfully passed in the 1990s. It has given us a walking trail, bathrooms, a spray park, and the playground. I hope we don't forget that the citizens overwhelmingly passed the collection of the internet use tax, and we promised them it would be designated for the maintenance of our streets and our stormwater issues. I hope the land at Lowe's Chevrolet develops quickly as we complete Risky Road and connect West Waynesville to our business center. I hope we continue with a focus on downtown and tourism, and that we never forget our unique history in Waynesville. Just an aside, the chamber interviewed me, and one of the things I said was, Waynesville kind of got a twofer with me, much like what they got a twofer with Bruce. I always say that about Bruce. It's a twofer because he was a banker. He had banking background. And John, he's a civil engineer. We've been so lucky with these leaders. Well, with me, it was history. I was a history teacher. And so something I've always been interested in is the history of Waynesville. And we've done a great job with that. I hope that a promise by MoDOT for an automated crosswalk downtown will come quickly. Do not let them forget that. Jerry, you become good friends with Preston real quick. I hope we continue our program to make Waynesville walkable with sidewalks. I hope we continue to mitigate the issues of flooding and stormwater in our community. And Bruce, I don't know about you, but that's one of the things I'm most proud of, is what we've done. I hope we continue to improve, enhance, and expand our utility infrastructure and to stay ahead of all the regulations that are coming down the pike. And Mike, what a great job you have done over the years. And my compliments to you, being that leader. I hope we continue our friendship and our partnerships with our neighbors, St. Robert and Fort Leonard Wood. I hope we continue to communicate daily with our citizens, that we are transparent, and that we always explain our decisions. I hope our police department continues to be supported to the level that our citizens deserve. I hope we continue to involve citizens in local government. And something we haven't talked about for a while, I hope we continue to plan for the future, and that we begin the process, John, of updating our comprehensive plan. I hope that we continue to put trust in our capital improvement plan. Planning works. Again, one of the compliments that I would give Bruce all the time. He's a planner. And I think we're all planners. You know, we're looking to the future. And then lastly, the city council will be important during this transition for the city. Take charge. I want to thank you all for your service, your support, and your friendship. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Mayor.